Hello. So I'm Dr. Jarita, and this is Dinner with the Doctor. I'm a board certified family practice doctor, but I also love to cook. Tonight, just cooking something simple. It's gonna be fish, some potatoes, and also some greens. Hey. So what I did is I had my fish sitting on some paper towels because my fish was not fresh. It was frozen, so it was kind of soggy and wet. So I had it sitting on some paper towels. If I wasn't cooking with you guys, I would have already seasoned it and had it sitting there. But we will do that in a second. But I'm gonna do the potatoes first. We're baking them in the oven, kind of doing some herbed oven fries sort of, and gonna do the potatoes first because those are gonna take the longest to cook. So I'm just gonna turn my camera down so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so all I'm really doing is cutting the potatoes into wedges. Let me look and see and make sure you can see on the camera angle. So cutting it in half and then kind of cutting it 2 or 3 more times to make potato wedges. But we're not gonna fry them, we're gonna bake them. Nothing wrong with fry, but we're just gonna bake them today. I'm not peeling them because these are Yukon Gold potatoes. A lot of times I do this with red potatoes, and both the Yukon Gold potatoes and the red potatoes have a pretty thin skin, so you don't necessarily have to peel them if you don't want to, and I don't want to because I don't feel like it. So just cutting the potatoes into wedges. My oven is already on. I turned that on before I started the video because my oven takes like 10 minutes to get to 400 degrees, and 400 degrees is what you need to get these potatoes crispy and to get them cooked in a decent amount of time. And then the seasoning for the potatoes is pretty simple. It's pretty much what I put on all of the vegetables that I bake in the oven. Garlic powder, salt, and pepper. And then the only thing that's different for seasoning these potatoes is that I'm also adding some Italian spices. I think there's oregano, basil, maybe thyme, and a couple of other things in there. So any type of Italian herbs or any dried herbs that you have that you like, you can throw that in there. I might throw some chives in there too if I can find my chive container. So we'll do the potatoes first, and then we'll season the fish so that the seasoning can kind of sit on the fish for a little while and soak in while we're cooking the other things. And then this is just a little knife tip. I see so many people in the urgent care who are cutting their fingertips off, and I don't have the best knife skills either, but as you're cutting things, make sure that you're kind of curving your fingers and keeping them away from the edge of the knife. And if the thing is getting too small to cut, just forget about it. Like, don't try to slice it. You don't want to slice your fingertips off. I'm always talking to myself while I'm cooking, like, Lord, I don't want to have to like go somewhere and get my fingertip repaired. I don't want to end up a patient. Seems like every night at a certain time, here come the kitchen accidents where people are coming to get finger lacerations sewn. So hopefully we can avoid having any kitchen accidents. This potato looks like it's kind of had something happen to it, so we're just gonna put that one to the side. Okay. Now, as far as like the pan that you're cooking your potatoes in, I tried doing this in a in like a glass pan, like a lasagna pan, but it just didn't work out. Like the potatoes didn't really crisp up right. So what I'm using is a metal sheet pan. It's like a baking pan. You could use a cookie sheet, but I'm putting some olive oil on this, and I noticed that the olive oil tends to like run off the side, and you don't want your oven to be smoking and whatever. So let me move this over here so you can see what I'm doing as far as seasoning. Okay, so first thing I'm doing is kind of drizzling a little bit of olive oil. This is just regular olive oil from the store. It's not special about it. I just bought a little container so I could drizzle it easier and not dump a whole bunch of olive oil on there. And then we're doing garlic powder. And you can really put as much or as little of each seasoning as you want. The only thing that we're really being sparing with is the salt. And the next thing is the Italian seasoning. It's just herbs. There's no salt in this. And you can put as much of that as you want. Okay, I see a lot of people. I see Aaron. I see Dr. Shabazz. I see Latoya Beatty. Dr. Hammerstead. I don't know who else is there, but hi. I haven't figured out how to see all the comments while I'm cooking. This is just cracked black pepper, which is going up my nose at this moment. Okay, and then this is sea salt. I just like the taste. Of course, sea salt, it doesn't necessarily have a whole bunch less sodium than regular salt. Some people think that they are decreasing their sodium by using sea salt, but not necessarily. You kind of have to look at the label. So this has as much sodium as regular salt, so we're still gonna be sparing with that. Okay, and then we're just gonna give it a toss. You can do this with your hands, right on the same pan that you're cooking it on. And then you want to spread the potatoes out and kind of give them room around each other, because you don't want it to steam. I think that's what was happening when I tried cooking it in a glass pan before, that it was causing the potatoes to steam instead of bake, and they weren't really browning. They were kind of sweating a lot, so you kind of want to spread them out and give them as much space as you can. And then I'm just going to throw that into the oven. That's 400 degrees. That's probably going to take about 20 minutes or so, but we'll come back and check on it in a few. You'll probably start smelling the herbs and things when it gets ready, when it's starting to get ready. So just pay attention to that so you're not burning anything. And then a lot of the spices that I'm putting on the fish is gonna be similar to what I put on the potatoes. The main thing that's gonna be different is that I'm gonna use some Old Bay seasoning instead of salt. And I'm gonna use some smoked paprika. Now this is different than regular paprika. It really has a smoky flavor, and it will change your life. If you haven't used it before, get you some smoked paprika. It's been kind of hard to find lately in the grocery store. I don't know if people are cooking a lot for the quarantine or what, but I've had a hard time finding my big bottle of smoked paprika that I usually use. This is just Old Bay seasoning. I don't know if Old Bay seasoning is prevalent where you live. It's everywhere in Maryland because it's the Maryland seasoning, but Old Bay seasoning. If you don't have Old Bay seasoning where you live, you can just use like Lawrys or some other kind of seasoned salt. Okay, and then also using some garlic powder. and some cracked black pepper. And then we're coming in with our smoked paprika. This gives it a nice color too and makes it brown in a really pretty way. And then I'm also gonna use some onion powder. I just found some onion powder today. Same thing with the smoked paprika. For some reason the onion powder was hard to find. I'm just turning it over and putting the same seasoning on the other side. And then we're gonna put this fish to the side and let it sit and kind of let the seasoning stick to it and go through it. It's a pretty thin cut of fish, so the seasoning shouldn't take that long to go through it. I know at one time people were all up in arms about eating tilapia, but I'm just like, you know what? Every other day, they're like, you can't eat this because of this. If it's clean, I'm gonna eat it. It probably isn't gonna kill me, and if it does, we'll just go home to Jesus. More onion powder, more garlic powder, more pepper, more smoked paprika, and more Old Bay seasoning or whatever kind of seasoning salt that you have. And this we're not gonna fry it today because we've been eating a little too much fried stuff lately, so we're just gonna saute this in the pan with some olive oil, but not now. Just gonna put that to the side and let the seasoning sit. So now let's get ready to deal with the greens. I'll just put this raggedy potato into the bag for the compost. Okay. The only thing that's going in the pot with the greens is some onions. This is a sweet onion, something like a Vidalia onion, but you can use whatever kind of onion you like. And we're gonna have this onion go into the pot first and kind of brown a little bit before we put the greens in there, to kind of give it some flavor, because the greens have a little bit of water in them, a little bit of water that's going to spring on its own, and then also they have been soaking in the sink. Okay, my onion was a little dirty, so we just rinse that off. Okay. Just doing some rough slicing of the onions. I'm not cutting it up super small. And then that is gonna go into our pot with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, now for the greens. These greens, actually don't even really know what they are. When I planted them, I got seeds that were, it said they were a late fall cabbage or something, because I was planting them kind of late in the season. I don't even know why they're still growing, but hey, let's go with it. I'm gonna keep clipping them as long as they keep growing. But I planted these like last fall, like really late in the fall, like late October, early November, and they've been growing since then. I thought they were a regular cabbage and that they were gonna grow into a head, but they haven't formed a head yet. They just keep growing leaves. And my mom says she thinks they're a colored cabbage, because when you cook them down, they start out looking like a cabbage leaf. They're kind of light green, but then when you cook them down, they start looking green like collard greens. And they kind of taste like collard greens to me, but they cook fast like a cabbage. They actually only take a few minutes. So all I'm doing with these is just kind of cutting them into smaller pieces so we don't end up chewing a big hunk of leaf. And then this is going to go into the same pot with the onions. Okay, I was just thinking, I wonder how long my pan is going to take to get hot. And as soon as I said that to myself, I started hearing the onions sizzle. So we'll throw these in there in a few minutes once we get all the greens chopped up. Or it might be before we get all the greens chopped up, because I'm running out of room on my cutting board. My big cutting board is in the dishwasher. Is anybody cooking with me? Or you guys are just watching? Hey, Crystal. Hey, Keisha. Oh, what are we cooking? If you didn't see it from the beginning, we're cooking some fish and we're cooking some oven potatoes, like oven potato wedges. Not fried, but just baked, with some Italian herbs and garlic and salt and pepper and some greens. And these, what I think are collard cabbages. Let's eyeball our potatoes. Okay. Yeah, the potatoes aren't anywhere near burning, so we'll just keep on cutting up the cabbage. I'm waiting for Keisha to start her cooking show. Hey, Musu. I be looking at Keisha's food like, I'm going to come over there, and I don't even know where Keisha lives, but I'm going to find out. Especially crab stuff. Because I can't cook crabs at home, because certain people are allergic. Okay, we're almost finished cutting up the cabbage, and then I'll just take you guys over to the stove with me. Don't be alarmed if you see me picking up cabbage pieces from the countertop. I always wipe the countertop before I start, because I know I'm going to be dropping food everywhere. So the countertop is clean. Okay, let's go over to the stove. Okay. Musa is saying she cooks hers differently. Are you talking about greens? What I'm stirring is just a pot of green with the onions. I guess we should season it, right? Let me put some salt in here. So for these kind of greens, and also for kale, I just try to keep the seasoning simple. I only put olive oil and salt in there for olive oil, salt, and some fresh onions for this. And then for kale, I just do olive oil, salt, and fresh garlic. Because when I start putting a whole bunch of seasonings and whatnot in there, it seems like it makes the greens bitter. I don't know. And this, I'm not going to put any water in it. I'm just going to kind of keep stirring it so that the greens don't burn. I don't want to put a lot of water in it because they're going to kind of spring their own water. And then let's go ahead and preheat the pan for the fish. I'm just putting a little bit of olive oil in the pan for the fish. Oh my goodness, Christina Grist, a blast from the past. We went to high school together. Okay, so this is our fish. Yes, this is tilapia. No, I don't believe that tilapia is going to kill you. So I'm cooking tilapia. And if you weren't here when we seasoned it, the things that we seasoned it with was smoked paprika, cracked black pepper, garlic powder. What else did we put on there? Onion powder. And I think that was it. So keep stirring your greens so that they're not burning on the bottom. And let's keep eyeballing these potatoes. Let's see. Can y'all see that? Woo! Look at this thing. Okay, the potatoes are coming along, but they're not burning. We don't have to get excited yet. And I don't turn them. I just kind of scrape them off the pan with a spatula when they're done. See how they're starting to get kind of dark? Once they're cooked for real, cooked all the way through, they're going to look like collards. But you can do this with any kind of greens you have that are quick cooking. Cabbage, spinach, kale, whatever you have around. I'm just waiting for the fish pan to get hot. Let me see if I can scroll through the comments a little bit. Okay, Dr. Chavez is saying that smoked paprika is bae, and she bought a big bottle off of Amazon. But usually buys Frontier brand at the co-op. I think I'm gonna have to buy some smoked paprika online because my grocery store is playing and not having what I need. Okay. I know that Keisha has greens in her garden. I don't know what kind. Okay. My pan is getting there for the fish. We're coming along. We're almost finished. What are y'all having for dinner tonight? Oh, I see a piece of onion skin in here. Let's get that out. Okay, I think our fish pan is ready. Where the oil is moving around easy, but it's not smoking. So let's go ahead and start putting it in there. I wish my bigger non-stick pan was here. I ordered it like 1,000 years ago, but the company sent me a postcard like a week ago and was like, well, due to COVID, we're gonna send this to you whenever. And then the non-stick pan that was big that I had is not non-sticky anymore, so that's what it is. Okay, here's the fish. Keep stirring the greens because it's easy for them to burn on the bottom since there's no water in here and there's not that much oil. Now they're starting to get dark. I usually don't like to do live cooking videos. I feel like I'm over here about to burn stuff and dropping things, and I'd rather tape it and post it, but I said I'll try doing a live video and see how it works out. And if I burn stuff or drop everything in the floor, y'all will just have to see that. Okay, the potatoes are starting to look brown. It probably is gonna, hey Monique, Dr. Miranda now. The potatoes are coming. They're getting pretty brown. I'm gonna give them a few more minutes to make sure that they're done inside. Those probably take about 20 to 30 minutes depending on how thick you cut your wedges. And how close together the potato wedges are. Okay. This is what I meant about cooking live. I'm stirring greens and just remembering that we need to turn the fish over. One day, when they send me my big non-stick pan that I ordered, then I can cook a lot of these fish at the same time, but right now I can only get I forgot to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, as you can see. Hey Daphne. Hey Francis. Okay, so for those people who are just coming on, we're cooking some greens. These are collard cabbages, my mom said. I thought they were regular cabbages, which I thought were going to turn into a cabbage head, but they never did. They just kind of kept sprouting leaves. And when you cook them down, they stop looking like cabbages and they start getting dark and turning into what looks like collards for some other dark leafy greens. And then you're also cooking tilapia. The tilapia is seasoned with smoked paprika, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and Old Bay seasoning. And the greens just have some fresh onions, salt, sea salt, and olive oil. The greens are almost done. Let me get some oven mitts before we burn up these potatoes. Ooh, the steam will kill you. Okay. The potatoes are almost done. I think they're done. Let me see. Let me check on them. They could stand to cook a little bit more. I don't want them to get dry, but I want them to brown a little bit more and be a little bit more tender. Let's put them back in there for a few more minutes. And then let's take this fish out of the pan and put the next batch in there. Okay, my pan is kind of dry, so I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil in there. And turn the temperature down some so we don't burn the next batch. What is on the potatoes, if you weren't there when we were seasoning them, is just, let's go back over here to where our seasoning is. So what was on the potatoes was just something simple, just some garlic powder and Italian seasoning. This doesn't have any salt in it. And cracked black pepper and some sea salt. And then once the fish finishes cooking, once all of it finishes cooking, I'm gonna slice a lemon and squeeze some lemon juice on it for some added flavor. If you don't have a lemon, you can use vinegar for that, which is another salt-free seasoning that you can use to kind of improve the flavor of your food without adding more salt, vinegar, lemon juice. Okay, these greens, I'm gonna stop cooking them because it looks like some of them are trying to burn on the bottom and they look pretty dark and pretty done. So let's put those to the side. Let me taste them and see if they need any more salt. That's good. We don't need any more salt. And our fish is cooking really quickly, this second batch. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that. And you can see, or maybe you can't see how quickly this browned. Frying them like this in a dry pan or with just like a little bit of olive oil gives it a really good crisp. And what I was saying in the beginning about draining them on some paper towels, if the fish is really dry too before you cook it, it gives it a good crisp on the outside. Hey Crystal. Hey Shanika. That's good. So we might as well slice our lemon while we're waiting for that. Is anybody else cooking today? If you are, put what you're cooking in the comments. Just gonna go ahead and slice this lemon and get it ready to go because we're gonna squeeze this on the fish at the end. Oh, see, this is what I meant about the live cooking. I had already forgot about my potatoes, so let's get those out of there before they burn. Okay, these are our potatoes, and what's on there is Italian seasoning, garlic powder, sea salt, and black pepper, and olive oil. Stay there. Don't run away. Okay. Let's get the fish out of the pan and do the last batch. A little more olive oil. Seems like my fish are soaking that up. Our fish is coming out really pretty, and some of that is due to the it browning from the smoked paprika, and some of it from the woo, I just touched myself on that metal. Some of that is due to browning from the Old Bay seasoning. You might as well squeeze this lemon on the fish while it's hot so it can kind of soak in. And then we'll do a second squeeze on top of the rest of it. That is good, children. That is real good. Just a little bit of squeeze of lemon really changed the taste of it. It tasted kind of okay before, but the lemon made it taste really good. Hello, Miss Higgins. I see some relatives on here. Okay. Crystal saying she cooked Sunday and has a lot of leftovers. Kale, zucchini, carrot medley, turkey stuffing, and gravy. Oh yeah. You cooked a whole turkey? Or you cook like turkey parts? Hey, Cousin Winslow. I have to set up a family Zoom, since we're not having the family reunion this year due to coronavirus. Okay, since we're on our last pan of fish, let's do a little recap for those who are just coming on. That is hot. So here's our tilapia. We just are sauteing that in the pan with some olive oil, and we season this with Old Bay seasoning, smoked paprika, garlic powder, black pepper. Did we put onion powder on that? I think we put onion powder on that. And then this is our herb potatoes that we cooked in the oven. Better on a metal pan than on a glass pan. It seems like it browns better on that. And then this is just Italian seasoning, sea salt, black pepper, and olive oil, and we bake that at 400 degrees. And then the last thing is our greens. These are collard cabbages, but you can do this with any quick cooking greens like regular cabbage, spinach, whatever you have. And this is just cooked with sea salt, some fresh onions, and the greens themselves. Didn't put any water in there because they spring their own water. And then the last thing that we're doing is squeezing some lemon juice on the fish when they're cooked. Okay, you cut the turkey in half, and after I cooked it and froze the half, we'll eat it at a later time. That's a good idea. I bought a rotisserie chicken today to make some chicken salad with. I was like, I'm not baking no chicken just to make chicken salad. I'm tired. Or lazy, or both. Okay, that is all of the fish. So we were just going to squeeze the last bit of lemon on that. Can you see this fish? Ooh, that's hot. I got too many hot things over here. That's what I'm talking about, cooking live. I'm trying to keep everything where you can see, and I'm over here about to touch this hot metal. So if you hear me scream, don't be alarmed. Okay, so some more lemon juice. This is the last thing we're doing for our fish. This really changes the flavor of it, where you can give it more flavor without adding more salt. And if you don't have lemon juice or lime juice or orange juice, you can use vinegar for this. My father loves putting vinegar on his fish. Okay, so that's it. Dinner is done. Thank you guys for joining me. That took less than 40 minutes because we didn't start cooking right away. So that's a pretty quick dinner. You could do it on a work night or a weeknight. Okay. Thank y'all for coming. I'll do this again one day. Live cooking wasn't too bad. I just had to kind of keep in mind what I was doing and try not to burn stuff and try not to burn myself, and trying to figure out how to look at the comments while I'm cooking. Thank y'all for coming. Have a good night.